Imagine being pregnant with a child when you're barely a teenager yourself. Well, that's the reality for thousands of school pupils in South Africa. A weekend newspaper has reported over 3,000 Gauteng pupils aged between 10 and 15 fell pregnant last year, some of them by teachers. Well, how did this happen? Has anyone been held accountable? To discuss this now, I'm joined by Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona. Steve, thank you very much for coming in. I just want to check the facts around the numbers. The article is talking about 3,262 Gauteng girls fell pregnant between the ages of 10 and 15. Can you confirm that that is how many girls fell pregnant at school last year?
No, look, we have checked with the department and the officials. That number, it's a distortion because they are saying those learners are impregnated by educators. That's the story. That's what the story is saying. And we are saying it's a distortion. We've interacted with SAIS to confirm whether they did share any numbers. They did not share the numbers. Basic Education as well, they confirmed with us that they did not share those numbers. So we don't know where the numbers come from. So we're actually puzzled. Why would a story like this be published to say, implicate our educators to say they are responsible for impregnating over 3,000 learners, which is a distortion from where we are sitting.
So are the numbers correct generally about teenage or the pregnancies in this group, no matter who's responsible?
No, that's alarming. That's alarming.
Is it true, though?
That's alarming. You do have learners that are being impregnated or that are pregnant, ranging from their peers. And from where we are sitting, if an educator is involved in such, it will be a sexual misconduct, which will then tantamount to the educator being scrapped off, from
Absolutely.
The, from,
so
from
you obviously view this in a very serious light. Can you tell us how many teachers are currently being investigated for alleged misconduct and impregnating young girls in Gauteng?
No, we will not be in a position to, like what I'm saying, we will not be in a position to tell you that this educator impregnated a learner. What we do, we deal with misconduct. If there's sexual misconduct that has been alleged, that's what we deal with. Even SAIS, where they are sitting, it will be difficult for them to give you numbers and say these educators are responsible for impregnating our learners. It's a mission that is not easy to accomplish. So where we are sitting is a distortion. That's why we are saying from the article itself, it's a distorted article, which it does not need really to be covered in this fashion. And when you look at the numbers that they're talking about the national number of about 120,000, which, Basic Education says, again, is a distortion. And when you're talking numbers, you then need to look at all the provinces and say, in this province, this is the number. But the article is not doing that. So we don't understand where this number comes from.
But you can't deny that teenage pregnancy, and even as young as 10, it seems, is a problem in South African schools.
Well, those numbers we should be in a position at a later stage we can share with you. We did, on different platforms, indicate that teenage pregnancy is a problem. It's a challenge that is facing us, and we normally, encourage parents to work with us to say, let's work together and make sure that we don't have learners that are pregnant at our school. But we know that we do have learners that are pregnant. That's why we give them an opportunity to go to an extent of not being denied to be in a classroom. It will be probably their decision to say, yes, now I'm at a level where I need to go home. That's why in all other schools, our schools, we don't encourage learners to be expelled because they are pregnant, because we understand that is it's a challenge that we are facing.
What is the age of the youngest girl to have fallen pregnant in Gauteng? Do you know?
Indeed. I mean, we had 10-year-old.
So that's a reality, a 10-year-old falling pregnant?
Indeed. I mean, we did experience it, which is quite sad. And we've already indicated that it's quite concerning that you'll have children. Those are children that age, falling pregnant. It's actually, I don't know, it's beyond comprehension. Them being sexually assaulted, it's also a concern for us.
I have to ask a question on a different story, and this is the concerns around coronavirus. Could you confirm, is it Grayston Preparatory School that has had to close because a teacher has gone into isolation for the virus? Are you able to tell us anything more about that?
Well, from where we're sitting, we can confirm that the school decided to, not to allow learners to be at school today. But we're not going to, delve much into the confirmation of whether there is a coronavirus or that, because that's not our space. We will give relevant department, Department of Health, they are leading that space. They will be working with us just to understand on what transpired there. But we want to caution principals. No principal has a right to close a school. No principal can take that decision.
And were you
They will
informed?
need to interact with us and say, this is what we intend to do. They will be guided. No educator, no principal can close a school.
Were you informed or were you asked about whether they could close the school? Is it Grayston Prep?
Yes, it's Grayston Prep. No, we just received, communique coming from parents, concerned parents, to say this is what we are receiving. But there's a communique that is being directed to parents that we have already seen as the department. Hence, our officials are going there this morning. The district director has already confirmed that they are working closely with the principal. They will be going at the school, but we know that at the school learners are not there. So we just need to understand on what transpired there. But we will also make sure that the Department of Health interact with the school and guide them on what is it that they need to do in the event of such an incident.
So have they told you that this teacher has isolated herself because she was part of the group or had contact with the group from Italy? Are you aware of the details around this teacher?
No, I'm not going to go there. The relevant department will talk about that. We are about the school. Our concern is the school has been closed, and we just want to understand how did that happen, and they will be working very closely with the school to understand what transpired. But as for the detail on health matters, health will be in a position to talk to you on that.
And you haven't had any communication with the health department this morning on hearing this news?
No, we've already interacted with the Department of Health. I mean, that's our sister department. We're in the same cluster. Already they are interacting with the school. So as far as guidance and what is it that is going to be happening, they will be guiding us.
All right, so it's really up to the health department to guide on whether a school should close. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. I mean, this is a national challenge. We've seen that it's only the Minister of Health that is talking about it. So it's at that level. That's why we are saying Department of Health will guide us.
Will you be sending officials to the school today?
They are going there.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving us an update on that story. That is Steve Mabona, of course, from the Gauteng Department of Education.